5, 4, 3.
Live from the B Dizzle Production Studios, we bring you a show of shows, episode 6. I feel sixth. Is that the name of the show?
Yeah, that's the name of the show. Oh man!
Live with your host JPO Jordan Pierce Owens. Ah!
Yeah, let's not. And
Dutch the McDutch McAllister.
let's not.
Be Dizzle to the Rizzle, my nizzle. Be Dizzle.
Oh, there he is, the aviator.
And not featuring Tyler Perry, Casey Affleck, or Ben Affleck.
So tonight we got numerous things to hammer down. We got the Deja Vu film reviews for February of 2001, and then we got a film review, just one because I couldn't get to Medea, and we got
I didn't want to go.
Yeah, of course. And we got a film review of For Fighting with Family. We got a film review for Ariana Grande's album. First thing up is what? Deja Vu reviews.
Deja Vu.
And the films that we got, Ryan, you gave us Hannibal. Tell us why you gave us Hannibal to begin with.
Because there wasn't much options.
I haven't seen it in a long time. A classic.
Your mic. Try to help you out.
Haven't seen us in a long time. A classic.
Yeah.
No. Hold on,
see.
my friend.
Wasn't as good as the first.
Thank you, but you still think this is the classic?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
It still has its creepy
everybody
notes.
ended up watching it, whether they liked it as much or not.
Well, that's not a classic, though. That's the only thing I'm going to argue on.
Well, people still look at it. They still
It was
watch
a must see.
I don't know if that many people still look at it.
Yeah, I think they do. I don't know. I watched it.
What was your take on it?
My take was basically
Julian Moore read the check while Jodie Foster read the script.
No. That might be the case, but because there was no chemistry between Anthony Hopkins and Julianne Moore.
I blame that partly on the writing, though. I mean, they're great actors who are very charismatic on their own rights, but yeah, I don't know.
We had Gary Oldman in there who tried to do the best he could possibly do with the script, but again, alas, that doesn't happen. But I got to tell you though, Anthony Hopkins still made your skin crawl anytime you watched him. But like I said, there was no chemistry in the lead, with the leads, and there was really nothing eventful. Even though they had some different ways they eat people, which is different. But the end was chilling though. I got creeped out at the end when they're in the plane, and basically this kid walks over, in the plane, and they're eating. And he asked Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter, what he's eating, And he was talking about, he goes, I don't, like plain food. And he goes, what about you? What do you want? And he goes, can I try some of that? And you look down and there's a human brain. You see the human brain in the small dish. And he goes, well, it's nice to expand your horizons when you eat, And I'm like, holy crap, don't do it. And he goes, can I have a bite? And he goes, well, sure. And he feeds the kid the human brain. And then that's the end of the scene. And I'm like, holy Snikes, this is not the way I want to be.
Thanks for spoiling the movie for those at home that haven't seen it yet.
No, I wasn't ruining the film. It's just no one's really seen it since 2001, I think it was. 2001?
Not a 90s film.
Well, it feels like it's been that long. So, but no.
I thought it was all right. I think, as you kind of pointed out, it had some cool concepts and whatnot. Just overall, just not executed, I think, to as great a length as it could have been,
Well, yeah, and again, like I said, it's watchable. I gave it though. It wasn't completely watchable, but I gave it 2 out of 5 flakes.
Maybe I'm too nice. I gave it 2.5.
2.5. So
and I feel like my review was worse.
Aviator, what'd you give it, there, buddy? You gave it. You had
2.5.
Okay, so he says it's a classic at 2.5. So.
Man, it doesn't take much to be a classic. If that's a classic, then the next film's got to be a classic.
Yentl is our next film. No,
3,000 miles to Graceland.
3,000 miles to Graceland. I picked that. I just liked it because I'm a very big Kevin Costner fan. I'm a very big Kurt Russell fan. I'll watch Kurt Russell in anything.
Are they in anything else together?
I don't remember. I don't think they have been. I think this is their first team up.
Yeah.
And of course, I love Elvis, and they all dress up as Elvis, and there's a big heist in the casino. What kind of film? What could go wrong in these movies?
Lots.
A lot. Everyone gets shot. Everyone gets shot up. But, to me, it was a good film. I want to know what you guys thought about it. If you watched it, I don't know.
Dizzle, what'd you think about it?
Did anybody watch my film this week?
I give it 2 stars.
Did you watch it?
No.
You dirty liar. How dare you not come prepared? I didn't see it either.
I hate you all. I'm never assigning homework for you guys again.
I'll watch it.
I gave it, I'm going to, out of 5 stars, though, I gave it 3 out of 5, which is decent to watch. And it's to me, it was a fun film. Some people said it dragged. I think on Rotten, if you want to go by that crazy system they use, it was like a 15 or something like that.
Yeah, I do remember it being that's why I've never gotten around to it, because it's a movie that I've always been intrigued by since 2001 on paper, because it's also got a huge cast too, like Arquette, Slater, Cox is Courtney Cox in it.
I think she is, yes.
Yeah, so like it's got a huge like supporting cast too, but yeah, for whatever reason, it's just not something I never got around to and still haven't. But I want to one day though, so I swear by the next Deja Vu, I'll review both of your films. I
don't think you will, but anyway,
probably not.
I'm gonna jump over now to you because you gave us Saving Silverman
14 out of 5 stars. I know,
and I actually I watched it. I enjoyed it, but why did you give it to us first? What was your reasoning for this?
So here's the funny thing about this particular movie for me. I put this up there with Joe Dirt, Malibu's Most Wanted, and when I say that, I mean by I didn't love it the first time I saw it, but it kind of grew on me, man. Just the outrageousness of it. Jason Biggs, unfortunately, gets into a very controlling relationship with Amanda Peet, so Jack Black and Steve Zahn try to kidnap her. And you got the late Arlie Ermey, who just passed away within the last year. Mm-hmm. He's really funny in it. There's some Neil Diamond shenanigans. I just thought, man, like it really kind of grows on you, these characters, and I kind of. It has a spot in my heart to an extent.
Okay. This was an over-the-top romantic comedy.
It's over the top.
As you know, I like romantic comedies, but there was times, it just dragged a little over an hour and a half, which is about an hour 35 or something like that, which is fine. If it would have went over, I would have probably ran away from the film because it would have been too much for me. But what I liked about it, I'm going to give you some likes about it, and there's some disagreements about it. What I like, in a way, you got the early Jack Black. You got to see some of the early stuff that he would later infuse in other roles. Because, I think when they're going, that whatever the hell that was that he used to do.
Come here.
Yeah, that,
Like that?
Yeah. So he would bring that into a numerous amount of roles. Steve Zahn, to me, this is the most memorable performance he's ever done.
Yeah, this is where I kind of fell in love with Steve Zahn. And
one of
the reasons I still try to love Steve Zahn.
Yeah, he borders on from ridiculous to over the top farcical, but it works for that character. You know what I'm saying? Jason Biggs' character, I don't even give a crap. His character was awful. He's the most forgettable out of the whole thing.
But I think he's supposed to be, because it is kind of about these crazy friends trying to keep their like really nice friend who unfortunately gets controlled by Amanda Peet because he's that nice of a guy, and he will go with it, and he will get butt implants.
I don't know if you remember this though, because I was watching. I said, "Oh wow, this is nice." Maybe we saw the forming of Tenacious D then, because Kyle Gass was there.
No, they're around the 90s.
I'm just saying. I was very happy to see him in there. Along, they weren't in the same exact scene, but you could I was like, wow. I was very happy to see. I'm a big Tenacious D fan, so it was nice to see. Almost.
Do you like Pick of Destiny?
Yes, actually, I did. But because he was trying to woo Amanda Peet, and then that's how that happens. I agree with you, Arlie Emery. He's the classic crazy high school coach, and just unbelievably fun to watch. It's probably the best character he's ever played in a movie. And,
I want to say it's one of the first things I remember seeing him in.
And I got to tell you, the one thing I did get upset about is when they kidnapped Neil Diamond. They kidnapped Neil Diamond. They put him in the back of this van. And he gets out and goes, "What the heck's going on here?" And then he noticed, wait a minute, talking to Jack Black, "Oh, you're the one who sent me the nudie pictures, and you're like, oh no, what's gonna, And then they said, "Oh, it's all about love. That's why Oh, well, my songs were all about love. I forgive you guys. I'm sorry. If I got kidnapped by a bunch of crazies, one looked like a dressed as a hooker, and the other two were there, and a crazy guy driving the damn van, I would be a little bit more, if I was Neil Diamond. I know it's a farcical.
It is. I mean, the whole movie, like you said, is over the top. I mean, these guys basically like get away with kidnapping to the degree towards the end. So,
yeah. Because what we're gonna rule them because this is what we do. But there's the way it ends. Who's going to press charges, with, Amanda Peet and Steve, Zahn's character getting together. But, at the end of the day, though, it was fun. It wasn't great because it was, like I said, Jason Biggs' character. I know he's like the guy from The Hangover, He's trapped on a roof. No one cares. It's all about
leave Biggs alone.
It's all about the wackiness that ensues from everywhere else. But
he's the straight man. Everyone else is freaking nuts.
I understand. I'm just saying that's what he is in that movie. He's like the Hangover.
How many snowflakes?
The dude on the wing. Before I give my snowflakes, Ryan, what do you think about that movie? Did you watch that movie? Have you seen the movie in the past?
Yeah, I've seen it. I'll give it 3.5.
Okay, he gave it 3.5. I gave it 2.5 out of 5.
Me and Dizzle are in agreement today. 3.5.
Okay. And we randomly generated a number.
All right. First time hearing about this.
We pulled this off the air because sometimes it took too long. So 25, which equals 1994 in March. So now we have a March 1994 film. I actually looked them up. You guys are going to be so giggly with all the good movies that come out because we finally hit a time when movies were actually coming out. Because as you know, January, February, awful times. March, they start cranking. Like this week, they're going to start cranking out this year. And so that'll be fantastic. But that is exactly what we had. So, so there you go.
I look forward to checking that out, seeing what we're going to assign each other.
Yeah, and I
Deja Vu. Deja Vu.
Yeah, Deja Vu. I cannot wait. I have a few.
Deja Vu.
All I can say is, do you like Monkey Business? Did you like that movie? Did you like Monkey Business?
Oh, was it Amber Tamlin?
Yeah, you like that one?
Monkey Business, legitimately, first movie in theaters.
I think that movie is actually during that year, so you should look into it. So here, okay. So from Deja Vu, we go into the film review, and this month or this week, we went with Fighting with with My Family.
Fighting with My Family.
And this is a stacked film with some great actors. Florence Poe, Vince Vaughn, Nick Frost, Lena Headey, and Dwayne Johnson. Steve Merchant as well. Basically, it's the story of Sarah Knight, a.k.a. Paige of the WWE, and her dream to be a professional wrestler. And we both watched this. And we Jordan, no one could ever understand how we watched this movie. It was the best movie we have ever watched together because the whole theater of 200 seats, us two were the only two.
We got to do our own riff tracks basically throughout it. And not that this movie is a riff tracks worthy movie because it's actually, I think you'll agree to a degree. It's a really fun movie, man. And outside of movies, wrestling is my other passion. And I'm so glad to finally say we have a great wrestling movie. The other great wrestling movie is The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. I love it. It's worth checking out. But it's a very adult film, obviously.
No holds barred?
Dookie. Horrible. But, The Wrestler, it has sex and drugs and violence. Yeah. This one is a movie you can literally show, like, your 10-year-old daughter. Or maybe 12-year-old daughter. But, anywho, within that range. Like, you show your daughter, your son. And, I don't think you need to be a wrestling fan.
No.
So, because it really is it's a good sports movie. It's a good story of triumph, of not giving up, of finding your own, path in life. Sometimes it's also kind of a good story of, like, hey, sometimes bad things happen to good people and, vice versa. So, like I said, I really liked it. I thought Florence Poe was great in it.
Absolutely.
Vince Vaughn, someone said it was kind of like his role in Hacksaw Ridge is kind of like a general. He's quite good in this too. Like, I thought Vince Vaughn was kind of falling off there for a while, but I like some of these kind of side roles he gets here and there. Awesome parents. Nick Frost and Headey are the parents. They're also wrestlers. So if you saw the scene from the trailer where the young kids are fighting and he goes, hey, that's how you choke your sister this way. There's some really good, funny stuff here. Stephen Merchant, as we mentioned, fantastic comedian. He wrote and directed this as well. Now, as a wrestling fan, though, and this is actually what bothered my brother even more than me to a degree, is that there's a lot of nitpicking. I finally get how people feel about Green Book and other historical movies like Lincoln. I mean, people are picking it apart like, well, that's not really how that sequence worked. You can pick this apart a lot factually, but it also a lot of times makes sense because you have to do years worth of a story with an hour and a half, and sometimes you need to
see that's what we notice. We notice how much nerds we are for professional wrestling and for any other type of thing, because we actually watched her in development before it was NXT. So we were like, no, it's FCW at this time, and we started going off about the craziest ideals, and I'm like, oh, now I know how a Star Wars fan from back in the day feels, or how a real crazed individual knows, because these things are just what we know to be different than what's being told on the film. But again, it's marketing, as we discussed. It was marketing, it's branding, and it's got to be consistent. And so I thought to myself, that was like I said, as you said, very entertaining film.
Yeah.
The most accurate of training that you could probably find in film. There's sometimes you and I were complaining about.
Yeah, I don't know if I totally agree with that.
Half of the stuff, but I just look at it as the acting was a lot better, and I think than the most wrestling films or any type of sports film where they try to make you feel invested. No. And you felt for
and The Rock, who is in it. Definitely a co-star, if not glorified cameo. Very funny though in his scenes.
Well, he produced the film,
No. I'm just saying, I'm just letting people know that because he's right there on the poster as if he's like one of the main stars. He's not, but he does have about 2 to 3 scenes,
and he puts fannies in seats. So therefore,
I know why he's on the poster. I'm just saying,
you gotta give him that. So basically, what did you give this out of the 5 flakes that we decided? Flakes are what we do.
I struggled between this and then giving it another point, but another half a point. I'm gonna go a solid 4 out of 5. I just thought it was a well-made film. Not a perfect film or earth-shattering film, but a well-made film that anyone from slightly before teens to after to 30s, 40s, 50s will all enjoy it.
Absolutely. I gave it a good 3.5. So I'm not
get out of here.
I'm not far behind.
Get out of here.
3.5 is what we have. So go out, watch family, fighting with my family. I wouldn't want to call it my family fighting. Don't know why, but go out and watch it.
And for anyone that knows Paige's story, there should be a sequel, man, because she's gone through some stuff these last year and a half. Fighting with My Future. Boom. Name of the sequel. Give me 10%.
No, let's not worry about that. I don't think they could show half of the stuff. But
I didn't say they had hold on. I didn't say Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods would be in it. I'm talking about the neck injury and the Del Rio stuff.
Well, yeah, you got all that.
That's your sequel.
Yeah, you got to wait for Del Rio to pass on before his litigious.
Shamarto Shmo.
But you call him something totally different.
Played by Ricardo Rodriguez.
We have. Good cast. What we have now is our music review. We don't do a lot of music reviews, but I thought this would be fun because Ariana Grande, I have the hardest time with her first name for some reason, but Miss Grande put out an album this year called Thank You Next. Burns up the charts. Everyone's talking about it, about what it means, how it goes. EP after single after single drops, and then she releases the album, and we all took a listen to it. I have listened to it numerous times, so I can get a great feel of it. My rating is going to be totally different from what most people think it's going to go, because I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed this album. I think I've highlighted a few songs that I really enjoyed off the album. It's a 12 album set.
12 song set.
It's a 12. Well, yeah, same thing. For me,
not.
It's 12.
If it was 12 albums, it would be 12 discs.
Yeah, well, who cares? No one even knows what an album is anyway. They just know it's a digital download. But yeah, so there's a few handful of songs that I really liked. Starting with the first one. The first one I liked. I don't know, if you know the songs. Did you? No, you don't.
There's only one song that I remember, and it's because of a bad reason.
And what's that? Give me to you.
You want to talk about that first? Okay. Well, you finish, and then I'll tell you my opinion.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, because we got a few to run down. I think I know which one yours is. Yours is probably the last one on the whole list. But we'll go from there. If you hear the name, speak up. Have fun with it. Or if anyone has any thoughts. NASA, I don't know if it's NASA or whatever. I have no clue, but that's number 3. Basically, it's about being alone and decompressing, not needing to bring around her friends and her loved ones. And it's very kind of relatable to a degree. The first 2 songs, Imagine and Needy, did not care for either one of those 2. So I kind of jumped down to 3 because 3, 4, and 5, I kind of got something out of by just listening, or just, the rhythms are nice. Like number 4 has like a reggae beat, and it's basically you get lost into it, because the beat's what sometimes a song is. It's not about lyrics with this album. But again, it's fun to listen to. Fake Smile, basically, we've all been there. We're forced to put on a fake smile, motor about, like, when all we want to do is hide, and not listen to the negative comments, or, but we're expected to always smile. And she relates this in this, because of her celebrity. She says to herself, hey, I don't want to put on this dog and pony show, because you're over there calling me names and doing other things. And that's not something, and it's another relatable song. You can say, okay, I can understand why people like that song. Bad Idea was a bad idea. I didn't really care for that film. There was a song. Then we have number 7, called Makeup. Technically, it's just basically it's a breakup song so you can have sex. Basically, that's basically what this song is. It's exactly what that is. It's a makeup song for having sex. It's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, so it's a little quick. But if you're in the heat of the passion, it's okay, right? I'm just saying. Number 8, Ghostin'. It's a Tinder song. I think she was doing this about her late beloved. The guy she broke up with. He later on overdosed. I can't remember his name. But, it's very pleasant to listen to. It's a very pleasing jam. Number 10, Seven Rings. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And people love that song. I've asked numerous people what it's about. Half of them can't tell me. And so I went off on that. Thank You Next, the title track off this song. Have you seen the video to this?
Yes.
I enjoyed the shit out of this video.
Why?
I just did. I enjoyed it. I don't know what the song's about, but I enjoyed the video. It was Bad Girls or Mean Girls. It takes a little spin off of Mean Girls.
I didn't see this video. I saw a different video. Sorry.
Okay. Well, see, you got to be watching the same videos. This one is Thank You Next, the big title track off of this album. It's nothing. It's just the video made me like the song. And it's just good to watch. And, if you watch the video, you'll enjoy it too. The one that I hated, and this is probably the board that you're going to jump on too. Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored. The most horrible song on the album. If I had a daughter, I would be yelling at her if she was singing any of this.
Yeah.
It may just be a gender double standard. It's possible, because we've heard men say these things as well. But, again, like I said, it could be digital double standard. It's a generational thing. But when you have lyrics like this, and I quote, because you could try to look these up and you can't find it. I had to listen to it back and forth. When you realize she's pregnant, then you realize she can't compare. Break up with your girlfriend, I'm bored. Okay? So she's saying, your girlfriend's pregnant. Just go ahead and leave her. Because I'm right here waiting to have sex with you as well. So, and I'm actually had a better figure now. You know what I'm saying? That to me is just crossing a line somewhere in songs.
You know what, Dutch?
And again, this is the only song that I'm really prudish on. Okay, I'm very prudish on this song.
You know what, Dutch?
What?
I agree. So real quick, my opinions. I didn't listen to it. What you said, you listened to this thing 4 times?
Yeah, I listened to this album 4 times because it takes a little bit of time to soak it in.
Congratulations to you. I skimmed through it once. I listened to it on Spotify. I thought it was an okay album. I just feel like it's nothing special at all. Some of the songs I didn't like that much. Fake Smile is the only one that I kind of thought was all right. And there's also a couple other songs that I think are fine. But I can't even remember them now to this day. Just me personally. Some of them I really don't like. I don't like Ghostin'. some of the other ones you mentioned, Bad Idea or whatever, I don't like. Yeah. And that last one too, yeah. I don't think it's a double standard because songs like this, I just don't get it and I can't get into. It reminds me of, I don't know if it's a Nickelback song or what, but the other song where he's like, my girlfriend's in the next room. And sometimes I wish she was like. It's like, come on, people. Like, the song's about cheating, and like, I'm like, this doesn't make me like you or respect you. And this is a very weird, like, vindictive song. Like, the title of it is "Break Up with Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored." I don't know. Am I overthinking it? Should I just go along with it? But like, I just didn't like it. I don't really like her as a person from a couple things I've seen, so I can't get into it. She's okay. I mean, she's too tiny for me. So
she's like 5'4", 5'2", or something like that.
And so
5'2" to 5'4".
You know, but no, I mean, she's definitely cute, and like, you know, I also see like the Lincoln Donuts "America Sucks" video, and I don't know, I didn't
see that, but
yeah,
you know, like I said, there's a few other albums that are out there. We'll probably try to, you know, listen to that actually sound a little, you know, different, and it's probably in the same genre. But, you know, because I've been, you know, I've listened to different things. You know, what's hot in Britain is not hot here, but some of that stuff over there is a lot better than what's going on over here. So we'll look into some of those albums as well. But no, for your rating though, you got to give me a rating. Give me some flakes on this bad boy.
I'll give it 2. I mean, like I said, I don't want to overdo it and say it's bad or dreadful. It is relatively well produced to an extent. Like I said, it is kind of. I'm trying to think of how to say it. It's listenable and then forgettable though for me, you know, with a couple songs that I really don't like pretty much at all.
Yeah, I don't walk away with a lot of it, you know, humming it in my head that much. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit higher. It's 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, that's a good rating, bro.
You know, because it took me a little bit of time. The first time I listened to it. Second time I was like, third time I was like, okay, I can hear this. And then by fourth time, I could figure out where I like to be in this album.
The fourth time, I started pulling out my hair.
Yeah.
Asking, God, do you exist?
It was like Clockwork Orange all over again. But no, that was Ariana Grande's Thank You Next album review. I think we should do more of these sometimes because
Just name the band in the album and I'll think about it.
So we'll do that. Now we got... wow, we're doing pretty well tonight. We got new films coming up this week. There's a bunch of movies coming out this week.
There always is, though, because you always throw in these weird movies that are playing in 4 theaters.
Well, you know, because I wanted to give the audience something else other than the one movie that may be playing in their area. I want to give them a little bit more option.
Yeah.
And that's why I saved that one for the very last on this list. And I'll let you go over that mostly because you're more psyched up than I am. You'll be there first thing tomorrow, bells and whistles on. But let's just talk about the first one that I thought was interesting. Apollo 11 is a documentary using nothing but file footage of the Apollo 11 mission to land on the moon, led by Commander Neil Armstrong and pilot Buzz Aldrin. And there is nobody talking in this movie. It's just all clips. Everything about it seems like it will be just a different type of documentary. You know, it's like you're going to be there as they're getting their physical, or or this and that. It just seems like it's a different way of telling the story of landing on the moon. And it's a great approach.
Oh, that sounds horrible to me. I can see that being up some people's alleys, but there's not going to be words.
Well, no, there's going to be words. It's just going to be file footage. So you're only going to see...
Oh, okay, so I see. You're just saying there's no talking heads.
Yeah. There's no one going saying, as I was about to step off that moon.
Oh, okay, then that's different. I'm okay with that.
You're not going to have that. You're going to have... as far as I've read and what I've heard about it, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's just the basic storytelling, different than most other stories.
Can I do the next one?
Yeah, go ahead. I like this one. This one
I mentioned this one, I think, last week for the trailers section.
Yeah.
You got The Kid with Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke, Adam Baldwin, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Dane DeHaan. It's a Western directed by Vincent D'Onofrio about a kid who witnesses Billy the Kid's encounter with Pat Garrett. I dug this trailer, and as I mentioned before, the thing that I'm kind of most excited about, I like Ethan Hawke in this. It looks like him and Dane DeHaan, I think, is another great young character actor who hopefully has a great career out of him. But the thing that intrigues me is Chris Pratt. He's the bad guy in this. Yeah. He's the guy coming after Billy the Kid and Hawke, and I believe another young kid as well. Yeah. So So that's what I want to see, man. I want to see Chris Pratt go bad, burn bad.
And I think this might be a good Western. I can't wait for D'Onofrio. How do you say his last name? You're better at it than I am. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio.
Oh yeah, that always used to, like, since Men in Black. I'm like, Vincent D'Onofrio.
But yeah, so he, this is his directorial shot at it, and I think that it'll be a good looking film. It looks good. This might be the very first film I ever saw of Dane DeHaan's that I might really enjoy. He's been in the one with the Valkyrie or something like that, Valerian. He was in Valerian. He was the lead in Valerian, and he did the other one where he went off to some health place. Not to me the greatest, starts to me. I
gotta look him up because I felt like he was he's great.
No, he hasn't shown to me yet. That, but yeah. I think though you're right. It could be a good film. It could just go on a side of blunder, but it does look like it is a well-paced Western. And I love Westerns. I think more Westerns should be made. It's just that people don't like that type of genre for some reason. They've lost the spirit of the Western. The next movie that's coming out, Gloria Bell. This one's with Julianne Moore and John Turturro. She's a free-spirited divorcee who her ex-husband, played by Brad Garrett. Also, we're going to see a few others that we all know. Nick and Nora's... who was Nick and Nora guy? That dude.
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera, thank you. He's in it as well. He just shows up a little bit, but yeah, she's a 50-year-old lady who finally discovers love. And what woman doesn't want that at 50? I guess so. Julianne Moore, I love her. She's a great actress. Wasn't great in Hannibal, but she's been great in other films like Your Big Lebowski and a whole bunch of others. And John Turturro, another actor who just somehow just pops up in anything that comes out sometimes. But yeah, so that movie's coming out. And we got one more, the one that Jordan has been creaming his jeans all week.
Whoa, hold on. Let me dissect that here in a second. First of all, Dane DeHaan, Chronicle, he was really good in.
Not that good.
Lawless,
not that
Place
good.
Beyond the Pines, Lincoln, Kill Your Darlings.
Yeah, you got no defense here, sir.
Nah, those are all good movies. That's great.
No, I don't think.
Anyway.
But go ahead. We got one more. We got the big one that Jordan's been wanting to watch. He keeps telling me I should be there tomorrow to watch it with him.
Will you just stop? No, I haven't said that. I've never said that. I've never said that. I am a little bit surprised because we see a lot of movies the first week of, and for some reason, these big Marvel movies, he's starting to die off on them, man. And I'm not. Listen, I've never been that excited for Captain Marvel. I am though. But I mean, as in compared to like a new, Wolverine or a new Avengers movie. I'm not that close to the character. The trailers have looked fun, but I'm just saying I still look forward to it. I've heard good press. Of course, you got Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson. It's a continuation of Marvel's epic saga. It's in Marvel's Endgames this summer. Ben Mendelsohn, Jude Law, Annette Bening, Lashana Lynch.
She plays the co-pilot.
Oh, okay, good. I was thinking Lashana Lynch. And no, I think I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's gonna be a good time in the theaters. Grab some popcorn. Brie Larson. I just rewatched the first half of Room the other day. Just fantastic actress. I also just kind of have a crush on her now. I've seen her on some talk shows. She seems very likable.
To me, it looks like in this movie, and I'm not knocking it. I want to watch it. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to watch it probably next week, sometime Monday or Tuesday, before we have the next show, so I'll be able to see it. But I just think, to me, it looks as if Brie Larson doesn't look like she was having any fun making this movie. As far as you can hear, the best fun she's had was whenever Samuel Jackson brought his lightsaber to work, and she played with that because she was excited to play with a Jedi lightsaber. But she just doesn't seem like she was that into it, especially the character, by the way, emotes. Because if you read the comics, she does have a little bit more of a character than just what I've seen so far. So maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. I'm not dissing the whole thing. I'm just waiting to see how that's going to pan out. So that's my worry, really. I think they might have chose the wrong actress. Possibly, we don't know.
I that's so hard to say. I think Brie Larson. I've been fine with the way it's looked in the trailer so far, and I think she's a fantastic actress, Oscar nominated in the past. So I'm definitely gonna hold out hope. I kind of see what you're saying, but at the same time, that might just be the way this character was written or the way she was directed to, maybe. But
possible.
I say let's wait for the film. Like I said, I've heard some good early press. So I feel like, it might get turned.
Like I said, I'm not.
And me and you will see it Friday.
Yeah, well, I won't be here Friday, but I told you I might be seeing it at the end of the week, if not Monday or Tuesday. So I won't be in town. I'm leaving. So
where are you going?
I'm gonna go to Tampa, I believe, this weekend. So
are you gonna see the Avett Brothers?
No, because I sometimes festivals aren't not my cup of tea. So we got a news roundup, brother. News roundup. News. What? News? Oh, a news roundup. Nice. So.
We got news.
Not all of it's good news. We're going to start out. Look at that. We're going to start out, though. Unfortunately, there's a few deaths that we want to talk about.
Oh, geez, I just popped a cap.
I know. You popped a cap literally, and now we're talking death. The first one was Luke Perry. That was a shock. I believe he was, 52 years old. Died of a stroke, complications of that. Unfortunate for him, he was still working in Riverdale. Also, Fox just re-upped for a reunion show of 90210.
He wasn't announced for it, but there obviously was hope that he'll pop in later.
It popped in like a day or so before. Unfortunately, his stroke took place. It was like almost right before, and then he just couldn't. Unfortunately, what happened. So we wish him the best because I remember watching him.
We wish his family the best.
Yeah, I watched what is it, Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah,
and to me that was a great comedy. And just his character alone, helped out. Along with I watched 90210. Who didn't?
I've never seen it.
Well, you were probably like 10 or 5 or something like that, 5 to 10. But to me, Luke Perry, very underrated actor. 8 Seconds was a great Bronco movie where he played I think it was a true story based on cattle rodeo guys. So that was it. And then another one that we both know, King Kong Bundy.
Well, let me talk about Luke Perry real quick.
Yeah.
I also always think, too, he's in the beginning of Fifth Element with Bruce Willis, where else I know him from. I also say Buffy as well. Not enough love for the Buffy movie, which he's won the lead in, the second lead to Buffy. Way different than the TV show, but I think it's definitely worth a watch. Very sad, like you said, early 50s. So very sad that, we could have gotten, many more years of Luke Perry. Riverdale's a show I haven't seen. Unfortunately, in a weird way, I'm kind of more interested in seeing it now to kind of celebrate Luke Perry. So I might check it out a little bit this week in honor of him. He had some kids, too. In fact, another connection to not only we're going to talk about King Kong Bundy in the world of professional wrestling, but Luke Perry. His son was Jungle Boy.
Yes.
He's a professional wrestler. And you may not know that name, but you actually might know it maybe soon. He's had his best kind of a breakout last few months. He debuted for a big company called PWG, and he just signed for a contract with All Elite Wrestling, which is the only company since WWE that has been selling out 10, 15,000 seat arenas, and he just signed his contract. So that kind of a bittersweet moment there. He was around for the contract signing, but unfortunately never got to see his son wrestle in front of like 15, 20,000 people. So, definitely much love to his family. You know what I mean? It seemed like I think he had multiple kids. If I'm not,
he had 2.
He had 2. Okay, so
it's multiple.
Yeah, I'm not wrong. So love to his family and whatnot. Definitely a tough time, and not much more can be said. You probably bring up the next one.
King Kong Bundy. The reason why we bring him
Legend.
in is because I don't know if anybody knew this. I didn't know this until I was reading a whole bunch of stuff. Number one, I remember him. He played Peggy Bundy's brother on Married with Children.
Yeah, he was
but
on Married
did
with
you
Children.
know that the Bundys were named after King Kong Bundy? That's how the family got their name.
I think I did, but yeah.
And
really?
that, to me, that was a shock. I was like, no, that goes to tell you what kind of a fan some people are.
That he had on somebody.
Yeah, they made him the surname for Al and Peggy and all them. So, but yeah, he was to me a great wrestler. big man of wrestling. Wasn't great. He was graceful, but not graceful. You know, he was just a big guy. His biggest shiny moment was WrestleMania 2. Unfortunately, he fell off the map on WrestleMania 3 with some midgets. But, you know, I found he had a great career after WWE, after they let him go. Then they brought him back, and then they let him go again. But he was always on the independent scene, always working hard, and still making a name. Big in New Japan Pro Wrestling as well. But, you know, wishing, you know, his family
definitely
the best.
A legend in the business. You know, he's a name that I think even maybe if you've never even seen him, you might have heard that name, King Kong Bundy. And as Dutch said, main event of WrestleMania 2, still the biggest show of the year. He main evented the second one with Hulk Hogan, of all people, inside a steel cage. He was also one of the Undertaker's early opponents in WrestleMania 95. So he's got multiple WrestleMania appearances. Definitely a legend. And from all accounts, from what I've heard in and out of the wrestling business, a good dude as well. So, you know, props to you, legend, R.I.P. And
not even in the Hall of Fame. He's not even in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and that's actually like that's one of those names that I think they should have pounced on because like I think it will happen someday now. But it sucks that he couldn't have done the speech.
Yeah, because he would have been a very interesting guy to hear from.
Because he's somebody that makes sense too. That could have been in any time in the last decade.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
But you got something else called Box Office Roundup. You got some news on the box office front. What happened in the box office this week?
I don't have that.
You don't have any box office roundup? I thought that's what we do. You talk about box offices.
I didn't do it last week. You didn't say anything, so I didn't have this.
I can tell you who the number 1 and number 2 movie is.
So tell me, and I'll talk about it.
Okay. I thought that's what we went with. That's what you said you always talk about. So that's what we were talking about before the show.
Well, I was just I'm skipping it.
But but How to Train Your Dragon got number 1 at $30 million. And Medea, the final movie, the Medea family funeral. Second place with $27 million. Here's the difference, though, with this. Okay, I actually pulled up some numbers. I actually did some stuff. Medea only showed on 2,442 screens and made $27 million. Okay, that's an average of $11,082 a screen. Okay, How to Train Your Dragon, which inked it out by $3 million. Was on 4,286 screens. That's only 7,000 per screen, which is a difference of 1,844 screen difference. So if you were to put Medea in the same exact category as, say, How to Train Your Dragon at 4,000, we'll say minimally. There's the Medea chair. What do you think could have happened? Do you think that she could have made a lot more? I don't know. I'm just saying right now, you're seeing, almost half the screens, and you have Medea winning, really at the actual box office, other than if you were to take it down, if you were to make it an even deal, How to Train would have been second.
I guess the good thing we can say about this is it's the last Medea movie, hopefully, right? Although I heard because of this making good money that they're saying like, maybe another one.
Well, hey, as long as you're making money, you go.
No, how about integrity, Dutch? How about integrity?
You know what, Shawn Michaels? I hate to harp on wrestling right now, but Shawn Michaels said he was done with wrestling until they backed up a Brinks truck full of money to him.
If I'm editing this
what did he
episode,
do?
I'm editing this right off.
Yeah, of course you are, because he's your Saint Michael.
Did you see this one?
I haven't seen it yet. I do plan to see it
POS.
though, because everyone. Hey, you know what's getting great reviews? It's gotten great reviews. Pull it up, look at it. I'm thinking it's over 50% rotten, but other than that, it's a lot better than most people are giving the thought process up to. So what else? What do you got for me there, Jordan? Because we'll talk about another thing that I have on this list, but. I want
to... Just a couple of things I want to run down with you guys. I was mentioning to you before. It's been greenlit, and it's going to film in about a year from now. Hitman's Bodyguard 2. Kind of a sleeper hit in August of maybe a year or two ago now with Ryan Reynolds, Samuel Jackson, and Salma Hayek. They're all returning, all three of them. Very curse-ridden, but fun movie. Again, not exactly something that's great, but actually I've rewatched it since. It's a very fun popcorn movie. R-rated. Gary Oldman was in the first one. not making it to the second one. If you've seen that movie. So Frank Grillo, who you may know from the second and third Purge movies, Captain America: Civil War, and so much more. He's been added to this cast as well. He could be a great good guy or a bad guy. If you've ever seen Frank Grillo, he can definitely play one or the other, or at both good as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Any interest in that? Did you like Hitman's Bodyguard?
I thought Hitman's Bodyguard was good. It was funny. I enjoyed it. We went. You weren't too keen on it that much, because
I wasn't. I feel like I liked it.
Well, you told me that most of the jokes were in the trailers, which is nice. But I just found it to be a nice job.
I won't hold that necessarily against the movie though. The marketing, I'll be more mad at than anything. You know,
and that's what they usually do anyway. They try to squeeze every piece of greatness that was in the film in there. But no, I enjoyed it. I'll give the original 3 stars. So,
yeah, that's all. I'd say a solid 2.5, if not 3.
3 flakes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot we're going with chocolate flakes. I'm not sure what kind of flakes we have.
Snowflakes.
Oh, there's snowflakes. They melt that fast.
I say that because if you do stars on a computer, it looks like a snowflake.
Oh, okay. So we'll go with snowflakes. That's
That's
how we came up with
pro
snowflakes.
wrestling message board joke.
There we go.
The other news is it looks like they're going to do a Scooby-Doo movie. It's animated, though. Going to be in the theaters. We got Will Forte, Gina Rodriguez, Tracy Morgan have been casted.
Scooby-Doo?
And guess what?
Is he Scooby?
No, I think Frank Walker is still going to be Scooby or something like that.
I'm just messing with you.
Here's the kind of sad news, though, is Will Forte supposedly has been tapped to play Shaggy, which, if you don't know, Matthew Lillard from Scream and so many other movies, he not only played Shaggy in the first and the only 2 live-action movies, but then since then, he's done 2 TV shows as Shaggy. He's done multiple direct-to-DVD movies. They're recasting him. It's going to be Will Forte.
Well, that's good.
But I think it's a little sad. I mean, Lillard did fine. Why not do Lillard again? And here's the other messed up part. Guess how Lillard found out he's no longer the role? He found out like we did when he saw the casting announcement.
Can I break in for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I hate to say this. I hate to break in because we're doing great. The greatest news I have ever read on my phone just now, just broke. Idris Elba will be in the next Suicide Squad as Deadshot. I am excited. He's replacing Will Smith, who left the project.
I'm glad we talked about it. Did you have to interrupt me with that, though? Was that the greatest
That
news
is
ever?
the greatest news of my life. I'm sorry. You're not a DC fan. So, I'm sorry. I'm just saying, the greatest thing in my life right now is Idris Elba in anything.
I'm a DC fan. They just need to start making better movies.
They have been making better movies. It's just that no one's wanting to admit it at this point.
Whatever, you're high as a kite.
Yeah, okay.
I'm fine with that. I'm sad that Will Smith didn't continue the part because one of the best parts of Suicide Squad was Will Smith and Margot Robbie. They obviously showed some chemistry. They're obviously really fun, likable actors. So you're taking away one of the good parts of a bad movie already. But Elba's pretty cool too, and I can see him in that role. So
yeah, well, Will Smith went off and he said, "I don't want to do this." He doesn't want to work with James Gunn, I guess, and he wants to go off and work as Serena and Venus's dad. That's what's happening. He went off to be Serena and Venus's pops in the new movie
Oscar.
that's coming out. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah.
So, and Margot Robbie is not going to even be in that movie anyway. So she's off doing Birds of Prey. So she won't be in Suicide Squad at all. So that's good though. We got somebody to draw you in at least. Next thing you know, put Dave Bautista in there. I'm all up in it.
As who?
I had it actually casted one time. I just got to go back and look.
He was the new crocodile guy.
No. But who else you got for me, man?
Oh, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
Scooby-Doo, Hitman's Bodyguard.
Yeah.
Ask me.
Documentaries of all time. Do you have a couple?
I don't really have a lot of documentaries.
Free Solo again.
How was that?
Again.
Because I've never watched it yet, and I hear it's intense every time you watch it.
It is intense.
So
This guy's nuts, man. I saw that, and then I watched the Robin Williams doc, and then I also saw Leaving Neverland. It was a doc weekend for me.
For my docs, I'll just name a few. Jim and Andy came out a couple years ago. It's a documentary about Jim Carrey literally getting into the character of Andy Kaufman and like making everyone crazy because he wouldn't stop being Andy Kaufman. That's a cool one. The one that we've talked about, of course, recently, Won't You Be My Neighbor. Fantastic one. Snubbed for the Oscar, the biggest snub of the night, of the nominations. Wrestling wise, Beyond the Mat from 1999. It's got The Rock. Well, just a little bit of The Rock, but it's got Mick Foley, Jake the Snake Roberts, Terry Funk, kind of following where they're at in their careers. Fantastic documentary. What you got, Dutch? I know you got a couple.
I really don't have any. I do watch them. I just don't have any names. If I stumble across stuff, I'll watch it. I don't really have any. I'm going to be honest with you. I just.
Grey Gardens. You guys have watched Grey Gardens?
I've never seen.
I'm not a big documentary guy. I'll wait until the movie comes out.
But no, I do watch them. Like I said, I just don't. I don't have any in the brain that I really say I'm gonna. These are all what I want. It's just this year I watched more documentaries than I usually do. But now you're gonna look at a lot of documentaries though. I was reading a report that you're gonna see a lot more on Netflix now. You're going to see a lot more because Netflix is like throwing money at documentary artists now. I mean, they're just throwing money. I think they just paid $11 million for one documentary, and I don't even know what it's about. No one, it showed up at a film festival and they threw $11 million and bought it like that.
The rise and fall of a show about shows.
Yeah, that's basically But yeah, I find it fascinating. I like real stuff too. So. Anytime you can get that, that's the best. But the talking about real though, to me, there's an actual movie that they just greenlit, and I want to know your guys' thoughts. Rock Hudson, it's a biopic that's coming out. No one's been slated. The only thing they had was the screenwriter. He's already wrote the damn thing, and they've already signed. Said okay, it's going. Who are we going to put in? Now, what actors do we see playing Rock Hudson? I got a list actually of some actors who could play, and some of them are always going to be on my list because I just love watching them. But some of them, you got to look at it totally different. The first one I thought of was John Hamm, because if you pull up any, you can see John Hamm right away in old Rock Hudson photos. Armie Hammer would be one for me. Joshua Jackson, that's a little outside the box. Well, we could put him in there. Ben Affleck. I thought, why not? Cast my boys over there. Logan Lerman, a younger, because then you could use prosthetics to make him old. Jason Segel could be a possibility. Julian McMahon could be good, and Henry Cavill. That is to me. Those are the ones who I think could possibly play a good.
You stole mine, man. I thought Armie Hammer. I thought legitimately Ben Affleck. So those are a couple that came to my mind as well. So, and I do kind of like the Joshua Jackson one as well. I don't think he gets enough praise, and I think he could play it. And none of those are bad.
And he's freed up from that one show that show that he's on Showtime. I think they canceled that, so he's free. I don't think he has anything going.
Quick side note, by the way, Tyler Perry's Madea Family Funeral currently 33% audience score, 17% critic score.
Absolutely, 33% right. of America loves Tyler Perry right now, and it's going to only get bigger. I think at the end it's going to settle around 45 to 50. It's the best one of the bunch I heard, so I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be exciting. But so basically, that's all we got then, man. If that's all you got, that's all we got. So,
hey, man. We talked about some news. We did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little seltzer down your pants.
So let's wrap this up. So next week, we'll have the Deja Vu films that we're gonna pick.
March of '94, I believe.
Yeah,
yes,
March
sir.
'94, the Deja Vu films. Also, we're gonna have reviews, and I promise you, we're gonna have reviews of Captain Marvel. We're gonna have reviews of A Madea Family Funeral, and we're gonna have one of The Vanishing. So
what's that? What is that?
That's the one for Gerard Butler. I've been waiting to watch.
Oh yeah, you go ahead and review the hell out of that, my friend.
Finally got it.
Yeah, I'll be over here not doing that.
Well, because you're a hater of Gerard Butler, as we know. Gerard
I'm a liker
Butler,
of good movies.
Gerard Butler, a friend of the show. I
love Gerard Butler.
Anytime he can come on and sit in our Madea chair.
I'll tell him to his face that he picks bad movies for the most part.
Have you not? He's on, like we've discussed this earlier. He's on a tear. He is on a tear, brother.
Yeah, a terrible run of movies.
No, his last movies are fabulous.
Yeah, Hunter Killer.
Yes, it was a great movie. Did you watch it?
No, because it doesn't look good.
Yes, it was a fantastic movie.
Fantastic.
Yes.
His own mother wouldn't say it was fantastic.
Yeah, his mom gave him a good old hug and said, "Baby, that's the best movie you've done since Den of Thieves." Anyway.
36% Rotten Tomatoes. Boom.
You know, I don't ever listen to those algorithms on Tomatoes because they open
don't listen
up.
to the critics that study films and love films.
No, well, you know what? We all love films. 90% of the critics aren't correct anyway. So let us sign off here. I am Dutch McAllister, along with...
I am J to the P to the O, Jordan Pierce Owens. This has been a pleasure as always.
Wow,
just interrupt me, Dutch. All right.
Yeah, because you always interrupt me. So I'm just trying to, we're just trying to get it over to the aviator back there, the man who's on the switch. There he is up there on the top board. There you go.
Thank you, Dizzle. It's always been a pleasure. Dutch, not so much.
It's never a pleasure.
We'll see Captain Marvel, I guess, separately. I hate you.
Yeah, well, it happens. So we'll see Captain Marvel. We'll see a Medea film. We'll see The Vanishing. Whatever movie you want to pull out of the old hat, welcome to the table.
We'll see Medea.
So
you'll see Medea.
Have a great evening and enjoy the night.
We love you more than you'll ever know.
Always want the last word, don't you, pal?
Last word.
Always.
Right now.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Later.
See ya.
Arrivederci.
Sayonara.
Shanghai surprise. I hate your hate for Gerard Butler.
I don't hate him. I wish he would take better films, and I would love him.